Today's video is sponsored by Game Nerds, the best place to buy all your sealed Digimon product, as well as other trading card games and for all your general gaming needs. And also by Inked Gaming, the best place to get your own custom playmats printed with the highest quality around. Links are in the description. What's going on, Tamers? Welcome to DigiPod, the digital podcast, season 3, episode 1. Today's very special and momentous day.
Three of them things, baby.
As you guys can see, Mike is not with us today. Mike is dealing with some very personal, very monumental, very monumental life decisions and changes. So he asked us to do today's episode without him. And so with that in mind, I think Mike is, for those of you who've been listening to us for the last, basically this entire season 2, you'll know that Mike has, if you listen during season 1, Mike has really added a lot to the podcast. His opinions,
for sure.
the viewpoints that he brings, the balance between the three of us. So we don't really want to talk about anything that we feel his opinion would be valid on without him. So today's episode is going to be a throwback episode. Today's episode is going to be a throwback to Dan and myself because we're the OGs. We were here from day one.
Yes, sir.
It's a big change. Y'all didn't see us
the
on
original DigiGuard, baby.
The original DigiGuard. DigiGuard before it was DigiGuard.
Yes, sir.
So we're going to be revisiting all that stuff today and just kind of serving as a jumping on point for anybody who has joined us within the last 6 months, 3 to 6 months. Anybody who wants to get to know Dan and myself, why we started the podcast, what we're about, who we are, and all that fun stuff. So with that all in mind, y'all are in for a great episode today. And as always, y'all know, you've been listening, you know what's coming up. The first thing we talk about is locals, bad or good. This week was bad.
Oh man, not just for one of us. It was both bad. It was
this was.
Oh my god. Who wants to start off the bad news?
I'll start off because I guess I don't normally start off. I was playing Millith for the second week. I think this is the second week I've been playing Millith. And TLDR, I've been using our locals obviously as practice testing for Ultimate Cup because we have a pretty diverse locals. You'll see meta, you'll see not like Jank, not like, I don't know, something like Zulomon Tribal, but yeah, you'll see some rogue tier strategies. And so I've been testing Millith. So I played against Blue Flare. That's our boy Marvin. Shout out to Marvin. Marvin's a good player. Don't let him fool you. He'll tell you otherwise, but sometimes you just want to smack him upside the head. Made me not want to play Millith because it's a fast deck. It's a good deck. It's fast. So it's like sometimes I can't deal with how fast they can be. And, Millith is a very combo, very piece reliant deck. And if I'm not seeing Kiamon, Black Growlmon, War Growl in my first 3-4 turns, I'm probably in for a bad day. And that's pretty much
especially what sometimes happened. Yeah, especially since besides that, you also need to set off the memory boosts also. So that's like a waste of turn sometimes if you think about it in that sense. Because maybe you only evo to a Guilmon, but you want to raise to go to the Growlmon, so you pass turn to 3 or something, like especially if you're going first. And then they may drop their memory boost, put you at 2, but theirs is just so much stronger because
theirs is plusing them to the hand.
Blazing
Sometimes they
boost.
play a Tamer.
Yeah, and it's cracked.
Like,
so and then
it's not memory
instant
efficient
setup for them next turn. Yeah, exactly. And then next turn you just gonna get smacked with a Metal Greymon possibly for 3.
That's literally what was happening.
Or a Gaussmon because they evo a Gauss in the back. So sometimes that's 3 checks immediately or 2 depending. But it's very strong deck, so I can see why you had issues with it.
Yeah, it's easy to not play into their strat. It's also easy to play into their strat if you don't have anything else to do. which is more often the problem than not. And when I say it's not memory efficient, it's not that it's not memory efficient for you. It's not memory efficient for your opponent, in that if they put me to 2, the only thing that plays for 2 in my deck is Alice. Well, that means I have to drop. If they have a memory tamer out, that means I'm wasting 5. Like, I'm effectively wasting 2 memory if I play a memory boost or something, which I have to do. But like, it's just a waste not being able to do anything else. I only run 1 mat memory setter. So sometimes I'll see it, sometimes I don't. If I can see Alice and Doberman, cool. That's a 5 cost play. Or even if I just drop Doberman, it's like I was going to drop him for 5 anyways. But like, it doesn't happen that often. So I don't even remember what my other matchups were. But I didn't do well. I played Belphemon. Oh, right. I did play Dan.
Yeah, me.
So I played 2 Belphemons then. I played against Jarrell. Jarrell's another one of our boys. He ended up taking locals with Belphemon. His first time playing, nonetheless. So shout out to him. Props to him. Playing against both him and Dan made me even more not want to play Millith, because obviously, in a way, you're helping them get their pieces. But I don't even care about that. What I care about is the fact that, like, Jarrell will come up. It was like turn 3. And he'd slam Asta. Sleep mode's on board. I'm not even at a point where I can be like,
right,
let me take advantage of the amount of memory he just gave me. I haven't gotten that set up yet. And then there's that. There's also the fact that the Gizmons recycle themselves. And I decked him out, but if he had like 1 more Gizmon in his trash instead of hand, he would have been able to bottom deck and then play out the new one, whatever, but bottom deck and have cards in deck for the start of his turn. Because I believe it was XT, because I know each one of them, like, you draw the same amount, you trash the same amount. But as long as you're not going into AT, so you have to play out either the Proto or the XT. So whatever he had, he didn't have it. But I thought about that and I was like, damn, if I play against a smart Belphemon player, that could happen to me, and then I'm the one who decked myself out. Then I look like. But there's also just the fact that when Rage Mode is hitting you 17K, 4 checks.
4 security checks, yeah.
What are you doing?
Early, and there's nothing good in early security too, probably.
Right. It's like Jack Raid, but it's like, oh, well, they were already at 3 memories, so now they're at 1. Like, that's not helping me.
Right, it's not forcing your turnover just yet.
And I never see rivals, and because Death Slinger is hit, I'd be playing Death Slinger at 3, but Death Slinger is at 1 for Ultimate Cup, so I'm already playing the 1 Death Slinger. So it's not even like there's like a big potency of kill spells. So all in all, like, I was really gunning to play Millith. It just hasn't been feeling good. Not with those matchups. But yeah, that's me. Dan, how about you?
I had the same record as Yavar this week.
Bad things.
Oh, we both went 1 and 2. I wanted to run it back with Belphemon again myself, because I usually tend to try to, if I win one week, I want to try to see if I could repeat that same result again for me personally with a deck. So I ran Belphemon again, because in the sense of simulating kind of like a regional run, right? Usually it's about anywhere between like 7 to 9 rounds, right?
Right.
So if you think about it, if a locals is 3 to 4 for us at least, maybe 2 or 3 weeks in a row, that can like count as quote unquote like a regional run.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
Makes
that's how
sense.
I kind of think of it sometimes.
I like that idea.
But again, I have a different thinking process because of, I guess, sports. So some people don't think of it in that sense, right?
Right.
That's why you just said that's a good idea, right? Like, I've always thought of that. That's why though, when I went way back when, I think it was during the time you had not quit, but you just took a break in the BT 7, 8 era or somewhere around there. I don't remember how long.
I think it was. I think it was more BT 9. It was like Alphamon.
Yeah, I was running the tables with Machine Jamon. I did 3 weeks in a row with Machine Jamon, something like that.
Oh yeah, that definitely had to be like BT 10 because he wasn't running.
I don't remember what it was. No, I was. What are you talking about? EX01 came out.
Because no, it was before you had gotten Analog Man, but it was definitely after you got the...
No, it wasn't. It wasn't Chaos Shaman. It wasn't the good Chaos Shaman. Not yet. It was the bad one still. Yeah. Yeah, it was during that time frame because that was when like Blue Hybrid was rampant and stuff, and like I was like, oh yeah, I was beating Blue Hybrid and stuff. But like that's like things I try to do. Like that's why sometimes you see me like bring certain decks multiple weeks in a row, and I'll just switch, and I'll just keep switching because like I'm not winning. I'm just whatever. Anyways, as I was continuing, I versed Digimon first, unfortunately. Won game 1, and then game 2 I lost. I think that one I felt like I misplayed the way whatever I sequenced. I felt like I misplayed something, and that's what caused the game. I don't really remember. And then game 3, and then the rest of the day was we back to Dan's Brick City, Dan's building houses, and that's what happened.
You gotta start double sleeving, bro.
And it was pretty bad. I don't like double sleeves. That I don't think that's gonna change my brick situation at times, at all. Round 2, I played Alphamon, and both games was straight terrible hands. And for me, I think when I think of good hands for Belfmon is you see Astamon, you see some type of rookie sometimes, or a Guzamon, specifically Proto Guzamon, and then AT. Those are my main cards I want to see in my hand at all times. And then sleep mode. I don't care about seeing rage mode because I know I will draw into it or trash it because I play Mist Memory Boost.
Right.
So as well as Purple Memory Boost, I play both of them. I like the mixture of both. And so I know that I'm gonna see the rage mode, so I'm not even worried about it. But my biggest issue is the Astamon because there's only 4 of it. That's the only ultimate you really go into. That's the only ultimate you can evo into as well. So that also affects your gameplay. So when you don't see certain combo pieces, and if you're somebody who plays the deck a lot, it feels like a brick. So like if I see a hand full of 2 sleep modes, 2 rage modes, and like AT, garbage hand. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Even after that's like an instant mulligan, you know what I'm saying? And at times, like for a normal deck, if I saw a Psychmon, like sleep mode, and like something else, and like a Mem Boost, I think I'll sometimes mulligan it because I didn't see no Guzamons. I like seeing at least the Proto in my opening hand or AT, and the fact that I was just only seeing like a Psychmon and not even an Eismon with it. Or like I always see, bro, I had a hand of all my one-ofs. It was Digimon, both Ogremons, Calling, and then like something else was I was like, yo, this is not a realistic hand. This is no way this is real life. You know what I'm saying? I was just like, bro, this is crazy. Like, but yeah, so both of those games, yo, my man's played 4 cool boys in game 2. I was just like, the moment he did that, I was like, there's no chance of me winning. There's absolutely no chance because he's just popping off. I started just playing games on my phone. Let me stop. I wasn't really doing that. But like I was just texting my phone because I knew that turn was going to be forever. So there was nothing for me to do at all. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I got smacked on that one. And then played against Varni. We went, what was it, 1-2, right? 2-1 I won.
It was 2-0 because I...
Sure. Even though he scooped game 2, he quote unquote scoop. It was because we saw it and I was like, yo, just play it out because it's the card that would have affected the whole entire game, right. Which it actually did.
Right.
And I'm not even gonna lie, when I saw that happen and like the fact that you popped off that next turn, I was so salty because it was like, oh my God, this is not happening.
Right.
I was just like, there's no way. And then I think you didn't even like, I mean, you popped off, but like it wasn't like you did the mill turn. You went to room mode, and that's what effed me because I was like, I can't raise this rookie. I need to raise this because I asked on hand, and so I was like delayed 2 turns because of the room mode.
Yeah,
that game, and then I don't remember what happened. Game 3 was that just a shutout? Like I just went Belfmon GG.
Literally, game 3 is why I don't want to play Millith. Game 3 was just straight up like I'm pretty sure it was rage mode on turn 3 or 4. Wipe security, and then I'm like, shit, I can't do it.
Yeah. So that's how it went. It wasn't the greatest locals for both of us. So sure one, I guess.
Yeah, I just locals is an adventure every week, and that one, that one we write away in the history books. We slot it on the shelves and we forget about it.
Yeah, we don't even talk about it.
Don't even talk about it. That. Next week, I'm probably going to start testing some actual jank. So I'll actually, I had fun with Miller, but
what jank we speaking?
Kintaurus, baby.
The Kintaurus?
Yeah, that Kintaurus deck. I'm going to try to fine tune it. It's an okay deck. It's gotten better with the changes. Shout out to Adronicus from our Discord. Inspired a little bit by his list. I tried using the line from BT13. That line ain't it. Not it at all.
Really?
So yeah. The only saving grace, Chidinmon is decent because you get to play out a Kudamon from the Inherited. But that's only if you get deleted. And then what's the other one? Loader Leomon is nice. It costs.
It's an alright card, right?
It's all right. I wish maybe with the training boost it would have felt better. But even so.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Currently, I'm playing the yellow hybrid version just because I think yellow hybrid's still a super strong engine for any yellow deck.
Of course.
Because Tamers give the utility, and the Tamers that yellow has access to outside of blue is probably the best Tamers in the game. And honestly, it's not even that blue has that many great Tamers. Blue has one Tamer that makes that color just the cream of the crop. Because every other one of their Tamers are in archetype. All Forces Tamers. Mirage has the Thomases and the Nikolai. Blue Flare has the Kiriha and then the dual Tamer. You can also play the Taiki Kiriha and Nene. So they only have two good generic Tamers, which is Davis and Sojo. But if you're building a blue deck and you need Tamers, those are most likely the two Tamers that you'll put in.
Davis is your automatic go-to because it's a searcher on play and it's a memory tamer.
Exactly. But yellow has access to the most utilitarian Tamers.
Yeah.
And
100%.
so I'd actually probably say yellow is the best generic, blue's the best archetype Tamers. I think the yellow hybrid package is super strong, even without the 4-jet Sylphie. And also because yellow can play its Tamers for free, which if you guys have listened to this podcast, I preach one of the biggest things that any deck needs to compete is to be able to play its Tamers for free. And so they have access to the Rise Gray. While it may Digivolve for 3, it gets to play your Tamer for free, and that's worth its weight in gold for me. And it also has a very
especially when oh yeah, definitely. Especially when in yellow there's a lot of 4-cost Tamers. Yes. So you don't want to be hard playing those if you don't have to.
It's the same reason that the Leopardmon decks, I don't like the plant versions. Well, granted, okay, the Lilamon, whatever, plays out the Yoshino for free. That's nice. I'd rather the Pangemon though, because Pangemon plays out any Tamer you play. You can play Davis, you can play Mimi, you can play them both. You can play Taiga because it plays 4 costs or less. So you got access to now the best of 2 colors in your deck, and you can take it whichever way you want. So I like Pangemon and Leopardmon. I like Rise Gray and almost any yellow deck that I build. So it's got some spice going on there. Y'all will see a deck profile on that soon. As soon as I feel comfortable with the deck. But
I'm comfortable with my version. I could just do a deck profile for that.
Nah. You got Mamemon to do, which speaking of, you owe me a Mamemon deck profile.
I know it's coming. Just, things got delayed because, of what happened. That would have been done today.
I see. But yeah, so moving on, we've got the second part of the podcast is our Q&A.
TBL? We ain't gonna talk.
No,
I was about to say TBL.
No, we go to TBL as the third part. We've got Q&A and poll results from our last podcast. So I polled the audience. I asked them, how do you approach deck building? Lloyd said, first of all, take that back about Mamemon. I probably shit talk Mamemon. He said, I've beaten Shine Gray and Royal Knights with it once each. It's support starved and it's support starved and on no one's radar, but it can take games. I agree. My problem with Mamemon, and I'm sure Dan might agree with this, there's not enough, and there's not enough good ones. The Etamon that we're getting in EX5, the Metal Etamon, is just we talked about it last podcast, such a nice keystone of that deck. But even just the rest of the line is just super solid. You have options for how you want to build an Etamon Sukumon deck. You don't have those options for Mamemon yet. And you're right, it is support starved. It needs the level of support that Edamon has been getting to go beyond that point. Because, like, for example, I love the Mamimon from BT7 or BT. No, I think it's from BT6. The decoy Mamimon. I like that. I like that card a lot.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's just, it's not good enough.
It doesn't do anything besides that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know,
so
Prince
it has
nice,
decoy, and then
but
on deletion, delete level 7 or lower.
Yeah.
Not level 7.
And so that's nice for the Mamimon strat where you're playing out the Mamimons, but like when you have big Mamimon, vanilla 10k
does nothing.
You've got Thunder Mamimon or
Thundermon, which is level 4, which also does nothing on play.
But it does nothing on play, right? Exactly. And yeah, do we have a catch Mamimon?
Yeah, catch Mamimon he's really good, but again, he's not on play. He's when digivolving. So when digivolving, you can place up to 4 Mamimon from your hand or trash to the top of your deck, any order, and then you can digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon if you top deck 3 or more. So
could have been an on-play when digivolving, but
yeah,
it's just
so great card for the digivolving. No inheritable either, so it also sucks in that aspect. And so it's good for the setup for when you play the Prince, when you go to the Prince or Bancho. It doesn't even matter. It's both of them.
Right.
And then they both do really good things. And Prince Mavimon's fantastic card. Fantastic.
I agree with that. Jamming and what is it?
The problem is
jamming and reboot?
Jamming and reboot.
That's so good.
You do, remember, it's so funny. I remember like my early versions, which was just Bancho Mami. I was like, bro, what was my whole thing? I was like, I need a toy Agumon and a Greymon in my line to get reboot and jamming to my Bancho, right? Because it has Sec +1. And it's just so funny that they made the Prince Mamimon give the everything jamming reboot. And then you have the best Mamimon, which is also the best, almost arguably the best generic black card, which is the BT11 Mamimon.
Agreed.
That has the on play and when digivolving, look top 5, play a Tamer for free. And then you can rearrange them in any order, top or bottom. So that also goes into strat of what Mamimon wants to do. Plus playing a Tamer, which is always good. And then it has an inheritable to make them blockers. So like you combo with that, but again, it's not enough of it.
Not enough. We need more
like a new Thundermon.
Because the BT11 one is like
a new
a perfect
Thundermon
example
that has on play
of what these cards need to bring to keep up with today's meta. So like, I know everybody wins with their decks, but that's what we need.
There's a whole lot of X Mamimon. There's Mamimon X. There's a Prince Mamimon X.
That's wild.
And so they're out there. So it's just a matter of time, hopefully.
Word. So then we have Ray's comment. Ray says, my approach changes meta to meta and the type of deck I want to play. Perhaps the main thing is I look at the types of decks I will likely play against and decide based on the facts around those decks. So yeah, I think that's the biggest, probably the biggest thing in what I look at, definitely, for example, I'm trying to decide on what Ultimate Cup deck to play, which is, completely different from deciding on locals and regional deck to play. And obviously I expect to see a lot of blue. I expect to see Blue Flare, Ulforce and Mirage. And because I expect to see that, I'm like, how can I counter these big blue decks? And I think that's valid for anybody to consider, when you're trying to deck build or decide on a deck to build, you're like, what am I going to face? What's the likely things? The biggest thing is you can't plan for the bad matchups as much. You have to play for the majority that you'll think you'll face. Because when you start teching out your deck for all of your bad matchups, then sometimes you end up with an inconsistent deck and you pull into stuff that you don't need 95% of the time. I think we've all done it at some point in some card game when we were starting out, and some of us have learned to not, and some of us haven't. So take this as your don't do it part. Then Jeremy says,
yeah, but you
okay
currently for your OT Cup that you're about to, your OT Cups that you run around, I don't know if you signed up for all 3 in September.
Unfortunately,
I only signed up for 1 at the moment. I might be able to do 2 depending how things go. But you are overly thinking about it.
Okay,
like,
so I'm overly thinking about it because there's a lot of things that go into it. I can't play Royal Knights, one of my favorite decks. I can't play Examon, another one of my favorite decks. I can't play Seccon or some variation of Ofani Loop because Chaos deck is hit. I can't play Beelzemon.
Kinda do.
I can't play Beelzemon because Deathslinger and Impmon is hit. And I tried it and with 4 Deathslinger, and I was like, damn, this would suck with just 1. And then I have the Millith problem that I talked about. And where does that leave me? What deck does that? Oh, I can't play Greymon decks because I don't even care about playing Cool Boy. I can either play bad black base with tie or red base with protection and no tie. And both of those seem equally bad to me. And I don't like the Ragnar variants, so I don't want to play Greymon. And you know, where does that leave me? A guy who likes all those decks I just named and all those play styles. It leaves me like nowhere. It leaves me floundering. So I'm sitting here and I'm like, what do I want to play? I can shoehorn myself into one of these play styles, but like it's not me. It doesn't have the Varni stamp on it. And that's like my biggest problem. I want something that's personal to me, the way that I play my play style. I just haven't found that deck that clicks with me yet. And Taurus is getting there, but I know how yellow decks treat. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Jeremy says, what I like to do is look at a deck and consider 2 things: consistency and other matchup. If it ain't consistent and has a lot of bad matches or no way out, I don't play it. Definitely a thing. You know, a deck like, let me think of a good example here. Merva Loop. I love that deck. I love Minervamon.
Same. I enjoy playing that deck too.
It just, you know, it's another deck I tried for Ultimate Cup and it just gets shit on. Multiple matchups. Mirage bounces. Very easily can play around your Minervamon.
Well, in Ultimate Cup, they banned Cerberus Mon for some reason.
But I don't even play I don't like that loop part of it. I play a different part of it that is more of like a board spammy version.
I mean, the deck just in general was a board spammy deck, but
right. But like, I don't do the Cerberus loop. I build up into Minervamon, let them play their turn. If it comes back to me, they played anything, I get a body on board, then I delete. I either swing the Minerva or I delete the Minerva, and then play out the Minerva. Then I've got 3 bodies, and I put Jack raids in so I can just get back memory if I've been trashing, milling enough. But yeah, I like that. But again, you know, same problems in general. Mirage gets around it by bouncing, and it's slow. And yeah, especially if I wanted to play a competent version of it, I would play the Cerberuses. Versus limited or banned? I think it's banned.
Banned, right? Cerberus Mon.
Werewolf mode is banned.
Werewolf is banned, right?
Yeah, so it's like, I can't even play that. So that's a deck that I look at and I'm like, yeah, we're not gonna touch that one. But definitely there's a lot of approaches to deck building. You guys, if you ever need help, you ever need advice, you know, always don't think, you know, what there's a big negative connotation around deck building. I see it in like the Lorcana community because there's a lot of new players getting into card games.
Already the deck just came out. I mean, not the deck, the game just came out.
The Lorcana Facebook community is even more toxic than the Digimon Facebook community, if you could believe that.
What?
Yes. You can ask our boy Lance. I hit Lance up one day. I was like, yo, can you believe this? He was like, bro, I only joined just because it's funny. I was like, yeah, bro, it's wild. Like, you know, back when, I mean, the game is like just getting its physical release in retail stores this week. But like 2 weeks ago, people were like up in arms, you know, when LGS's got it and they were overcharging and all that sort of stuff. And like, there were constantly posts.
Which makes sense.
Day.
Makes sense,
but like there just becomes a point where it's like, okay, we get it. Shut the hell up, you know? Like,
right.
It makes no sense. I'm seeing the same exact post worded differently day in, day out. But there's definitely a lot of toxicity towards new players, and whether they're asking like just general ruling questions or about certain effects, and it's just like, yeah, it's really dumb. So, you know, just want to take this time to say to y'all have any questions regarding Digimon, deck building, how to get better in matchups, blah, 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 whatnot, and so forth, pop into our Discord. We have so many good people, good players, good personalities. And then, of course, there's Dan, Mike,
I think that's the key word. Good people.
Good people.
We don't have people that's like toxic about new people coming in or asking what we might think is a stupid question or something. Like, we have people who have no problem describe, like, you know, breaking it down for them to maybe explain something easier for them. I mean, say for us three too. I'm not, you know, saying we're not or anything. In general, I think we have a good like people. Like that's what matters. I think at the end of the day, right? Is that good people who want to expand the game and a I guess in a good way, right? Because like good vibes bring more good vibes for type of thing, positive energy, right? So like we don't have like people who are negative about the game per se in our Discord mostly. Maybe like 1%. Like you get that random negativity, troll. But I think that's just the nature how, you know, online is, right? But for the most part, we have no problem accepting new people, teaching new people, so the game can continue growing, because that's all we're here for. We want the game to be,
I mean, at the end of the day, we all
growing.
Want to continue to play the game. You can't continue to play the game if players aren't playing the game. So why be toxic? Who are you trying to drive out? You trying to drive yourself out?
Right.
Like, get out of here. So yeah, join the Discord. Cool people. Links are in the description on YouTube or in our bio on Spotify. Now for the poll, I asked, what are factors for you when you are deck building? Out of 31 votes, I think I let multiple things be voted on, if I'm remembering correctly. If I didn't, then we got 31 votes. If I did, then we didn't get 31 votes. Put it like that.
Hey, just say we got 31 votes. We got 31 votes. Voted, man.
We got 8 votes for personal taste and spice, which I think is the biggest thing. I just talked about it earlier. Everybody wants their deck to be their own. Everybody wants to play a deck and be like, damn, like that's my deck. Or maybe not everybody. I would say a majority. 70%, 60-70% of players, maybe a little bit more. Some players don't mind just playing a deck just because it's the standard deck and it's good and it wins. And that's valid. Like if you play a deck
and that's okay,
wins, who the hell cares about personal taste and spice? Me, I care about personal taste and spice, but that's because of who I am and how I am as a player. Not everybody cares about that, and that's perfectly fine. Deck build the way that you want. And I think that's the key part. The other options I listed, we had 7.7 points. 7 votes for consistency pieces. Mem boost. When we get the training cards, I guarantee you, all of you will be playing training cards because those cards are so much better than the memory boost. And it's not to say that memory boosts are bad. It's just that where the memory boost gives you memory for later on, pulls your Digimon, trading cards, pull any card in your deck, only drop for 2. For decks that don't have searchers, which is a lot of decks, those cards are so good. For decks that do have searchers, it's just more searching.
Exactly. But it was great about this. Outside of a handful of cards, like legit handful, you can't grab Tamers usually when you have searching. Like member boost can't grab Tamers and options. So that's a key thing as well.
For that Hades Force, there you go. You looking for a Tamer, yellow hybrid, there you go. Instance, I'm playing for it in every deck I build going forward because the card is just so good. But consistency pieces, big vote for that, makes sense. 5 votes for contingency plans, i.e., what happens if I don't see my line? You know, it's the big thing about Shine. You know, what if you don't see your line? And hey, Shine has it built in. You don't see the line, you swing the Marcuses away. Swing Marcus, swing Geo Gray, swing Agu. Just swing them all. Eventually, you'll wear them out. Greymon decks even have a contingency plan built in their own searchers, because if you're playing enough and you're searching for pieces, that means you're playing bodies, so you just get to keep swinging. But some other decks you need to build in contingency plans for. What if I don't see this? What's my secondary plan? That's why I like Yellow Hybrid, because Yellow Hybrid has a low-end engine in its Tamers and its Hybrids. It has a top-end engine in its 5s and 6s. Where I don't have 4-Jet Sylphie, I have just 5 Ultimates. I do have 5 Megas, actually. Not a lot. So my main plan is to get into Venusmon and Taurusmon. But if all else fails, hey, Digivolve swing. I won a game with just literally playing the straight Yellow Hybrid strat. I had swung a Venusmon for 2 checks, and then I had 3 Tamers on board and a Digimon and raise, swing, and then Digivolve 3 times, swing 3 more times because I had enough memory. So, contingency plan, definitely a big thing. Then we had a tie in 3 categories. We had 3 votes for removal cards, which is big thing. Some decks need removal, 110%. I think some decks can get away without it, but like a yellow deck, for example, because of recovery, because of how strong some yellow options are, you're definitely gonna want to slot in like a Lampy or a Wyvern of some sorts. So removal cards, definitely a big thing. A deck like Greymon doesn't need removal. It just plays it because Hades Force affects Tamers too, and not just Digimon. Otherwise, it'd be just
Hades
like
Force is goated.
Hades Force is good. Otherwise, it'd be just like War Grey X back in the day. You play Memboost and that's it. That's your only option. Oh, Memboost and X Anti. You don't even play options. What do you need it for? We had 3 votes for counters to bad matchups. Some decks' bad matchups are so bad, such as Royal Knights against any Floodgate, you know, that it's like, I need. That's how we got to playing Marcus in those decks. Porcupamon, more Jessamons, more All Forces and stuff like that. So definitely a valid choice. And 3 votes for Ratio. Now, I'll take this time to say, and Dan will comment on this. Ratios are the most personal thing in this game. There's a standard set of ratios, which for those of you who don't know, 12 level 3s, 12 to 14 level 3s, 10 to 12, I would say more 10 to 11 champion, 7 to 9 ultimates, 5 to 7 megas, 3 tamers, and then you fill out the rest however you want.
I would say 4 to 7 for megas, because sometimes they just run the play set of 1 mega.
Right. But again, personal, right? Because for me, I've never been a fan of 14 rookies. I don't even like 14 rookies in decks that I play 14 rookies, which is the only deck I do that in is Bloom because it's green. But I take advantage of it because of how much it plays out and how much Mimi facilitates and whatnot. Otherwise, 12. Sometimes I'll play the 13. Most times I only play 12. And like Examon, I played 12 in my regionals run. For the longest time, I was on 10 rookies for Examon. I only played 12 because I needed the 2 Madokis for Merva. It wasn't because I was like, I need 2 more rookies to see. I played 12 because I needed 2 Madokis in case I saw Merva Cross, which I never saw.
Right.
But that's the only reason I played 12. Otherwise, those would have been something else. Champions, 10 is my limit. Depending on the deck, I could play less. For example, Yellow Hybrid, I play 12 because I play 8 hybrids, but that's because my Tamers are rookies. So, in a way, between my 8 rookies, my 8 actual rookies, and my 12 Tamers, playing 12 or 20 rookies. So I just need, you know, things that Digivolve, so that's fine. But in a deck like Millith, for example, 8 rookies, 6 champions. There's also only 4 ultimates. I play a heavier ratio of megas. Some people only play 3 Lilith. It's completely valid. 3 Lilith, 1 creep. 4 Grey decks, Black or Grey decks. They're on what, Dan? 8, 9 ultimates because of the how versatile that entire lineup
usually
is.
Me personally, I feel Greymon decks is just your standard ratios: 12, 10, 8, 6, 2, 2 sevens.
Oh yeah, but
and then the rest
sevens,
of whatever you want.
I mean, that files into the extra stuff that you can put in.
Yeah, I mean I'm always like that for Greymon decks, but ratios are so weird for me because I've played so many of like I guess you could say the weirder ratio style decks that I'm so used to like just doing whatever. But like a standard deck, like I think All Force is another deck that's your standard ratio. You always gotta play your 12 rookies, your 10 champions, your 8 ultimates usually. Sometimes you go with the 7,
right, exactly.
7 to 9. It depends on you. I've seen some people play 9 because they're like they wanted to see something. There was a point that I saw somebody play Chimeramon, I think it was. And then sometimes, like that's why I mentioned the 4 megas because before All Force X,
it was just 4
with the BT12, you just played 4 All Forces.
Because anything else is just not worth it in that deck.
you don't need it in that deck, right? And then you go
Blitz
Omni or Mercy mode. You know what I'm saying? Right. That was something that people were running. I played decks where you go heavy on champions. I've had decks that you go heavy on ultimates, and your other ratios are different. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like key obvious one, Digimon, right? Digimon, you're playing 12 to 16 ultimates. 12 is a low end.
I feel like it's got to be 14 for me, minimum.
For me personally, 14 to 16. That's me personally. I don't mind running 8 rookies, you know what I'm saying? Exactly. And then like 6 champions. Like that ratio is a little different because I don't care about the quote unquote champions at times. So like I was at one point I went like 8-6 and like 14, and then as many megas as you have. But like that deck ratios has always changed for me personally.
Right.
I've gone to 10 rookies. I've gone to 8 champions. I've done 6 champions. I've done, I think at one point I tried 4 champions to try it out. You know what I'm saying? Like there's always, that deck is always a very personal choice, right?
Exactly.
Then you have Royal Knights. The whole deck is literally
it's all megas
and then rookies. You're not playing a single champion. I mean, I guess you could Seal's a champion, quote unquote.
Omekamon right? Might be a champion, actually.
I think is Omekamon low 4?
I think it might be.
It might be, right? Because he's a 4 cost.
Yeah.
But you're not playing no ultimates. You're not. It's not a standard deck. So he like Varni's used to playing those type of decks too as well. I played way back when Red Kresgarurumon, which was a deck that used the OG Black Kresgarurumon just to spit out the red ultimates because red ultimates were better than black at that time.
Yep.
So you had like Skull Greymon's pop blocker.
Only a couple good black ultimates.
They have whatever else I use. I don't remember, but like that was like a 10 to 12 ultimates. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just different decks I've tried. That purple based Omni Zoo deck, right? Where you have like a crap ton of options.
Oh, the Ice-Mon, right?
A couple.
Was that with the Ice-Mon?
No, a couple rookies, and then you Avenge Kimon. You play Avenge Kimon for free just to go to Omni X.
Yes.
It's a cool deck, really cool deck. But you're not playing your standard ratios at all. That breaks the mold in that type of sense. You know what I'm saying? Like so. It's a lot of decks. It's just, preference.
Yeah. So ratios, probably one of the most polarizing things in the game. You have to play the game and know how you like things. I know at this point where I like decks and I have a basis where I start and I know where I'm comfortable with putting the ratios at on certain decks. So that's so personal, and that's just something that you don't get unless you've been playing the game for a minute and you've gotten that feel for it. And then the last
same with what's his name, Ying Huan, when he won with Mastermon,
right?
Like people thought he was a madman for going eight rookies,
that
right?
Pioneered the 8 rookie strat for Mastermon because it realistically, like, it wasn't working before, and that was the only thing that actually made it work because you got to fit in all this other shit. Because again, wonky ratios. You were playing like 12 ultimates, like between 10 to 14 ultimates, like. It was just a wonky ratio deck. And right, Ying pioneered that. So, the last thing is tech cards. Tech cards meaning, like, for example, cards not a counter to a bad matchup, just a card that could be useful. Like, for example, what's it called? Blue Flare could play War Grey Ace. That's a tech card. You don't need it at all. You really don't need that card at all. But
it has black box?
Yeah, black box. 3 from Greymon in text in name, sorry. So Blue Flare can play War Grey Ace. They won't. But it's a tech card. Just like you could play Melga Ace in any level 5 deck, or sorry, any purple deck with a level 5, because it's a generically good card. We haven't seen the aces be used because the support for them isn't there, and also the meta is removal heavy in that you're just not able to really keep a level 5 body on board long enough to take advantage of that ace card. But tech cards definitely a big thing. Whether it's, this files in under personal taste device, where it's like something I'd like to put in, or maybe you're playing, I don't know, like Dan said, like some people play merciful mode. You don't need merciful mode in All Force, but if you're playing against something like Beelzemon, merciful mode does reset their clock, does help you out. So it's not a bad matchup for you. It could be better, and merciful mode is a great tech card for that reason, So definitely a big thing there. That being said, that's all of our polls. That's all of our Q&A. Moving on, we are going to talk about the Tamers Battle League weeks 11 and 12. So the Tamers Battle League week 11 closed up in a swift,
we'll keep it short,
2-0. Literal 2-0. 2 matches, it was done. We had 7 players show up for a proper format that happened this past Friday, the 25th. And Adachi took home the dub. 4th TBL win, I'm pretty sure, with D-Boys.
Yeah, it was him.
D-Boys, perfect proper format choice because they're all commons and uncommons with a slight error. And 4 Ultimate Flare, 4 Iron Fist Onslaught. Hey, baby, that's a good card. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wish we had seen a 3rd round, but, we ended with 1 undefeated week. Well, so, yeah. Tamers Battle League week 11. Tamers Battle League week 12 is happening this Friday. You guys will see this clip. Is happening this Friday, September 1st. It is a return back to the standard BT13 regionals format. We will not be doing Ultimate Cup format because nobody likes Ultimate Cups. And we go with what the majority says. We'd like to do Ultimate Cup only because it's supposed to be a testing ground for players who play in the Ultimate Cups. But majority rules, and the majority has said no Ultimate Cup rules. We go with the majority. So if you guys want to hop in, have some fun during this horrible Ultimate Cup season, hop in. Tamers Battle League, week 12, this Friday, September 1st. Be there or be square. Like Dan said, TBL was going to go quick. I guess the only other thing I'll say, we say it every podcast because it's true. It's never too late to hop in. We've had 2 people top. Nairoon jumped up 5 spots to 19th. Shady Water jumped up 6 spots to a tie for 26th. And just participating in like 2 to 3 more tournaments will catapult them up more. Adachi and Leppy lead the charts, but the entire mid-table from the 3rd position all the way down to maybe like the 12th position is basically open. That changes on like a bi-weekly basis depending on the turnout of the tournament. So you guys want to have some fun? You guys just want to play some Digi? You want to learn? You want to get some practice in? Play good competition? That's your Friday night locals, baby. DigiGuard United, Tamers Battle League. Now that that's all done, that very, very short segment. Yes. Popper. Now that that is all done, let's talk about why we started the podcast. This is one of like our main topics. I guess before we talk about why we started this podcast, let's talk about how and why we got into this game. You want to go first, Dan?
Yeah, of course. Especially since I started before you did.
This is true.
So it's only right. But yeah. Why I got into Digimon? That's a great question, Varni. It's a loaded question. Way back when I was a young lad.
Way back when I was a wee lad.
Yeah, right. All jokes aside, but
across the desert. And I said, whoa, looks like it got turned into a machine Dramon. Wild machine Dramon,
Oh my god.
God.
That's funny. No, but all jokes aside, I've been a huge Digimon fan since the day of Digimon came out in America. Bought the toys, bought everything, played every single game, whether it was good or bad. It didn't matter. I wanted to consume Digimon content. I also bought the cards too, like the OG from the 90s. And then that died out. I never even knew how to play. I just like, oh, these cards are awesome. They're amazing. They're cool as hell, right? It's Digimon.
Right.
Unlike Pokemon, because Pokemon had their own trading card game for the Game Boy Color.
Oh yeah.
So like that's how I learned how to play Pokemon games. So like I still know how to play the game. I just don't play it at all. But so that game died out. Moving on to like the 2000s, Digimon was doing all right. You know, you had like seasons 3, seasons 4. They started changing things up. I still kept up with it. I watched it. I watched Saviors or Data Squad for Us. I watched it all. I consumed it all as much as possible. You know what I'm saying? I played Digimon World 1, 2, 3, even 4. The one that was on the GameCube and PS2. That like, I remember that weird trash game. Yep. Yeah, it was the most weirdest Digimon game I've ever played. I played Digimon World DS Story. I think it's called something like that. Digimon World Dawn and Dusk. I played. Yeah,
and Dawn and Dusk were Digimon World
Dusk.
Story, I believe.
Yeah, but they were like a different story. It was just continuation. They made it better. I played Redigitized. I waited for the full 100% fan translation. I was on the website and everything every single day trying to see when they were going to have the updates and everything. You think I'm kidding? I emulated it, played it on
look out for it too. I just at a certain point I had given up because it wasn't going anywhere when I was.
I never gave up because I didn't give up because I must have caught it at like maybe the 60 to 70% done or something like that. So I just kept following every day, and then like a couple months later, they were like, boom, 100%. They were like, there's a couple errors, but it's just all right. And then like I downloaded and I didn't notice anything that was that bad, so I just played it. So I played it emulated on the PSP, not on the PSP. It was for the PSP. I played it on my laptop.
PSSPP.
And then they also had like a couple card games, but those were like terrible. The Tamer ones. And then
not the
Digimon
one,
Colors.
not the one for Digimon World 3 though. The one you used to go into Yellow Cruiser and play with Divermon.
Oh yeah, no, that was. I wish they would have made that in real life. That was a great card game,
right?
Low key. And then the card game, the PS1 game, that was also a really good game. That's what the original Digimon card game was in the 90s, but like they made it a little easier for the trading card. What was it Digimon digital card battle,
yeah.
Called.
That's the category that we stream under on Twitch because we're not allowed to have a Digimon card game category.
That's the most dumbest thing ever. But yeah, so like I said, everything. I had all the newer cards that I had no idea how to play. I just collected them. Everything. And then it died off, right? It took a turn because Cross killed us. In our card game it did, and real life it did. That's why I felt like it was like a slow point, and especially in the games it died out. You're right, it died out as well. The game started kind of, that Data Squad game was an okay game, but it wasn't the greatest.
I think once
if you played it,
they came out with like the new era of the DS, which was like the DSi. That's when they stopped making games for Digimon, because all the Digimon games were coming out for, like, Nintendo. Like, we weren't getting Sony. Well, I guess the PSP one, but they didn't bring that over here.
No, they didn't.
And I guess I don't know how those Digimon games performed.
So they brought the last game at that point prior to Cyber Sleuth was they brought Redigitized, but it was under a different name for the DS. Like, we got that, but it was like a weirder, I don't know, weirder, maybe not the word. It was way less like broadcasted or something like that. I didn't even know it came out. And I followed Digimon, you know what I'm saying? And they said it had an English release. I didn't even know this thing existed. But all right, cool. It was like a version of Redigitized. I don't know. I never played it. Didn't even know it existed until way after. But anyways, then it like died off. And then, as we're getting older, they dropped Cyber Sleuth. Probably one of the greatest games ever. I put so many hours to that. It's not even funny. Like, I think if you go into it, both of my save files past 200 plus hours gameplay, easy. Like, it was 100 each. You know what I'm saying? They dropped Cyber Sleuth 2. They did New World Order, and now Digimon came back, right? Kind of like it kind of exploded in like 2018. They brought Try. They did
I remember like
what's it called?
Before
Kazuna.
I got into the card game, I saw Try, and I was like, oh wow, Digimon. I didn't know it was still alive. That's so cool. I'm so excited for that. That was when it was supposed to be a TV show. That was before they switched it to this 6-part movie weird series thing. But
which had each episodes of like 4 episodes combined. It was weird as hell how they did it.
They still made it a TV show.
What really killed Digimon was Appmon, because people didn't realize that Appmon was supposed to be Digimon, and they just dropped the ball when it came to that.
I gotta go watch Appmon. I don't even know anything about it, so I feel like
I would like to watch it just to see how it was and stuff. But like supposedly I read some people say it was like a kind of a good story. It wasn't that bad. It was just the fact that it was called Appmon, you know what I'm saying?
It wasn't Digimon, it was Appmon.
Yeah, exactly. And so Try came out, they dropped the Kazuna movie, they did Readventure, the reboot, not Readventure, Adventure 01 reboot. Yeah. New World, was it?
Not New World
Digimon,
Order.
Next
We're not
Order.
talking about wrestling here.
Next Order, yeah, I know, right? Next Order, great game, fantastic. I love what they did with that game. And now we're at the point they dropped the new card game in 2020, right? And so I was immediately, once I found out they were going to drop it, I was like, I had to follow what's going on with this. I was praying to the gods that they dropped the English version because I wanted to play it physically. And I was out of card games already. So like, I was like, F it. I'm all in it if it comes out. Right. So yeah, I've been playing since day one in America.
So my history with Digimon, always been a Digimon fan. I always loved everything Japanese. I just never really realized it till I got older. But Digimon, Pokemon were obviously like my 2 big things when I was younger. And I would say I was always more of a Pokemon fan than Digimon. That's just because Bandai sucks. Because Bandai could have maybe not been on Pokemon level, but can you imagine if Bandai cared a little bit more about Digimon? It really could have been a lot more.
So it wasn't Bandai back then. Oh, really? That's the issue. Like it switched around.
Okay.
I don't remember what the company is at the moment. Might be Toei.
Toei I know Toei has
Saban. Animation. It was Saban because I've been watching OG 01 Adventure, Digimon Adventure 1. It was Saban.
Say less.
And so that's what it was. Yeah.
Yep, say less.
It was Saban originally.
So that says a lot. I was always a big Pokemon fan because I played every Pokemon game up until Platinum. Because that was probably when I went into high school.
Too, until that's exactly when I stopped playing as well. Dominant Pro. I was like, yeah, I'm done with Pokemon after this.
For me, it was just like I think Heart Gold and Soul Silver came out after that, and I'd played that a little bit, but like that was like when I basically got into high school, so just no time for video games like that. And
no time for video games in high school, bro. That was the time of my life of gaming.
Yeah, right. But Digimon, I had always been into. Savers, I never really watched. I knew about Agumon, but I never really watched 01, 02, or Tamers, or Frontiers. Because Savers was like my first series I'd watched because it was on Jetix, I think. Disney XD, whatever it was at the time.
That was Jetix. Yeah.
So that was like my first real Digimon series. I'd known about, I'd probably seen Tamers on TV because I knew I saw Guillemon and stuff. And the same thing with Frontier, because I know I saw like this weird thing where like they were digi-evolving into, humanoid Digimon type things. But Savers was my first real series. Loved it so much. It just like reinvigorated my love. And I played every Digimon game for the DS. I played World DS. I played Dawn and Dusk. That's a lie, I didn't, because there was some sort of battle game for the DS that I didn't play.
I played that Battle Spirits.
Yeah, I think yeah. And I also I tried playing the one on the PSP, but like I said, I had gotten into it when it wasn't translated. It was maybe like 10 or 20% translated. So like I was just like, I can't read shit. I don't even know what I'm supposed to do. I can't play this. So it was unfortunate because I didn't get to experience Redigitize. I remember, I think my first Digimon game was World 3. I never played 1 or 2. I looked at 4. 4 looked weird as fuck to me, and I said, I'm not even going to touch that. But Digimon World 3, I remember that one a lot. That I think I remember it the most because as a kid, I had no
You cried
patience.
probably.
Yeah, I had no patience. So like I'd get past maybe like the first. The game doesn't guide you to do anything.
No. You have to find out. You literally have to talk to every single person twice.
Yeah.
Double tap.
Yep.
And then to figure out information at times, because sometimes they'll guide you like, all right, you gotta talk to such and such, but like there's like in between spots that are like kind of important when you need to like find like
you need to go all the way
like,
back to fucking Kusanagi City to get some shit, and you're all the way on the fucking second continent.
Exactly, like the perfect example when you need to find like Sepikmon's mask. Oh my god, that was like one of the most agonizing parts because of the back and forth. You had to go find Edamon, then you find out it's not Edamon. You find some other people. You gotta go to like Volcano
Valley or some shit.
You have to go to because I just played the game. You had to like go back to well, first before even all that, right? You go into the grave. I forget what it's called.
Yep.
And where Zambamon is like, bro, you can't beat me. I'm too strong. And he was like, damn, how do I get past him? And then like you find out he's afraid of stinky weed. And so to find stinky weed, which it doesn't even tell you, oh no, it does tell you to go to Sepikmon's house, right? So you go to Sepikmon's house, you have to go find the mask because he's like scared because he doesn't have his mask on. He's like, bro, I can't do this, blah, blah, blah. So you have to go find the mask. You have no idea where to go. And then you talk, like I said, you have to talk to random people and they're like, yo, talk to someone who has a random mask on. You're like, oh, where is that? Then he's like, all the way in Asuka City, which is an east sector, which you have to go across all the way around to go over there. And you see Sepikmon, which is really Edamon with a mask on. And he was like, bro, I'm Sepikmon, leave me alone. And then you're like, nah, bro, this is you. Then you go talk to some other people. And then you like, oh, that's not real him. Then you go talk to Edamon. Edamon's like, go talk to Nick. And Nick's all the way in Diver Lake for no reason. Divermon's Lake. And then it just keeps going. And then it's just like, bro, why? But
as a kid, I never I started that game over so many times because I always remember choosing the Guillemon and Bearmon package because I loved Guillemon. And
I did too. My reasoning was because the opening was Guillemon, Bearmon, and Agumon.
Yeah, right.
So the best way to get that package was go with them two, and then Agumon you get early game, and then I'll just take out Patamon instantly,
right,
and get Agumon, and I'm like, yo, I got the squad that they had in the beginning of the game.
I'd probably get past like obviously the opening sequence, and then I'd venture out in Asuka City, and then from there I'd go out into the Meadowlands, and I'd get mollywopped in the fields.
Get bodied. Yeah.
Yo, right off the bat, those Digimon were strong as fuck.
Bro, if you go into Central Park and you make that left into Plug Cave, you're instant bodied. Yep. If you go past that dude where that dude with the tree is to get the kicking boots, you're gonna get instantly bodied by a Deltamon, I think it is. And it's just like, bro, why? Yeah. Why is this here?
The game was it's so improperly balanced. For a kid, I never finished it. It makes you appreciate like the grinding in games and just like learning how to get around things and stuff. Right. Because nowadays in games, it's just they hold your hand so much in games today nowadays. You don't even like get to feel that struggle. Exactly. Like that's why I hated the new Pokemon game, Sword and Shield, was just the last one I played personally, I think it was. Because I was like, oh, I got the Switch, I could finally play a Pokemon game. So I was like, I'll play it. And then I was like, this is easy. Experience share for the whole party was disgusting. But this is not a Pokemon podcast. We will not talk about Pokemon. For me, never played through enough of World 3 until like literally like 6 months ago or so. And I still haven't finished it because I have the attention span of a peanut.
I just beat it again just recently.
Because Dan has an issue.
Nah, because again,
Dan just loves it so much.
Yeah. Digimon World 3 had 2 versions for some odd reason. So Japan rushed rushed the game for US for some odd reason. I don't know why. And so we got an unfinished game. And so there's no end game content. You do the end game credits, and then that's really it. They have it was called the PAL version, where it's like more updated stuff. They like cooler animations for certain things, and a couple of things. But there's a whole bunch of end game credits. So end game content. So basically, the whole point of end game content is to beat the Amaterasu gym leaders, the real ones, and not the fake ones. And then to do that, you have to get the grind is. I had to cheat because I was not sitting there doing that grind for real. You have to get all 8 of the partners. So that means if you didn't do that prior game, it's even harder now because you have to get each one. So let's say if you have 5,
some
right?
of them like disappear
more.
if you don't get them by a certain point, right?
Correct. And prior to end game credit, they're all there. But here's the catch: you have to get one by one. You have to get that first one you get. Let's say you needed Bearmon, right? You get Bearmon, you do the DNA thing, you get Bearmon. You need to get Bearmon to level 45. Do you know how hard that game is to grind to level 45 for one Digimon? So you get that Digimon to level 45. Then the next 2 will appear, and then you go grab which one, bring that one to 45. Then you do that all over again for the last one, right? And then after that, you have to go get the 5 legendary weapons. And then that's a whole grind fest in itself. And then you fight the gym leaders. And then you fight the champion. And the champion's low-key busted. I was like, bro, this is not real life. This shit is so hard for no reason. He has a Bulbmon that just all he does is increase speed, and to the point where you always miss.
Damn.
So you have to outspeed him.
No, you got to use what's it called? Sand attack. Sandstorm.
Yeah, right. Right. It was a sword swagger to lower their accuracy, something
like that.
I don't remember the attacks in that game in Pokemon.
But yeah, I love Digimon. I always have. My biggest regret is when I saw Digimon come out. At the time I've always been into card games. Obviously Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh started. Played Yu-Gi-Oh with the boys in middle school. High school I never got to play much. A friend of mine was in the Card Fight Vanguard. I was super into it because it looked cool. It was different, and it had an anime. I was like, that looks cool. Like I like that. So when I got into college, unfortunately, I went to college an hour away. Somebody there tried to get me into Force of Will, which I wish it was more supported over here because Force of Will looks cool. But I never had anybody to play Card Fight with. And then when I was when I stopped going to college and I was just I went to the card shop once because I was like, you know what, let me try to get back into Card Fight. I met my friend and I was like, oh, hey, this is fucking cool. Like, great. Like, I can get back into card games. So like that was my driving point where I got back into card games. I was in Card Fight. I quickly realized, I didn't realize it at the time, but like I knew Card Fight wasn't a game that I really enjoyed. It's too luck based for me. Those of you who are listening and you've played Card Fight before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There's a degree of skill. There's also an even bigger degree of luck. I don't have luck. And so I just a lot more often.
I would instantly lose in that game as luck as big.
Yeah, you would.
I'll be bodied every single game.
You'd never drive check anything. You just all your crit triggers, all your heal triggers, they'd all be in hand. And that was like my biggest thing. I was like, I don't understand like how I'm supposed to be good at this game. Like it just was too much luck for me. At the time I had seen Digimon coming out and I was like, oh, that's cool. People that came to the shop and they were playing, but I was like, no, like I'm in the Card Fight. Like, let me try to get better, whatnot, and so forth. I wish I'd gotten into Digimon like in the beginning because it would have been cool. I got into Digimon around BT4. The only reason I'd gotten into Digimon, I don't even know why, to be honest. All I know is somehow one day I ended up at the Gamer's Edge, which is where I met Dan and everybody.
Yeah, that was the BT4 pre-release.
But I
believe you came with Greg and then that one dude that like
Greg and Lenny.
Ever.
Yeah.
Who?
Lenny, exactly. But I don't remember why I went. Like I don't know if I was like, okay, cool. I think maybe I had seen like you know what I might have been? I might have seen because Golden Eagle advertises And I might have seen like a Facebook ad for Golden Eagle that was like BT4 pre-release, and I was like, huh, okay, I guess I could try getting into Digimon. It seems to be doing well. It looks fun. Let's try it out. And at the time, I had already had a YouTube channel, Varni's Card Lair, for the OGs. I was doing card fight content, or attempting to. And then I was trying to branch into other card games. I tried getting into DBS a little bit. And then like I bought Digimon stuff, and so I was doing a little bit of Digimon. And then Greg had posted, he was like, you got to teach me Digimon one of these days. And I was like, motherfucker, I don't know the first thing about Digimon. But there's a pre-release, so you can come with me. I got a starter deck. We can go learn the game together. And that's how it came to be. So I got into Digimon. I was just like, screw it, go to Gamer's Edge, and it was game from there. Been playing the game ever since.
It was all she wrote.
It was all she wrote. Been playing the game ever since. Met a lot of cool people. Met a lot of iffy people. And
sure. Yeah.
Yeah. That being said, I have a much shorter storied TCG history than Dan. I never, like I said, card fight, not the game for me. Digimon clicked with me very quick. I loved everything about Digimon. First of all, I loved playing Digimon because I love Digimon, but I also loved the mechanics of it. It was unique, it was fresh, and it didn't feel so luck based. Security, sure, not as much as Vanguard. So I immediately loved it. I stuck with the game, and over time, I realized that I hated aggro. Hated aggro from the door because Rookie Rush. Hated playing against it, and I couldn't even fathom playing it. I was like, who the fuck would want to play that? Why would you want to play that? That's so disgusting. Blah blah blah. I mean, teach their own. If you like, I should have
played it. I played around with it. I legit played it just to play it as like a meme. It was so busted back then.
It was. I knew it wasn't for me. I tried playing OG Shine because, like I said, BT4. So Shine was like the king of BT3,
Tier
right?
1 deck.
And going into BT, going into BT4, it shifted to Yellow War Gray. So I tried Shine.
Yeah.
Shine didn't do good to work Yellow War Gray, and I looked at the way Yellow War Gray played. And I was like, that's not for me. Not for me at all.
Yeah, I don't know why I forgot what BT4 was. I forgot that was Yellow War Gray Montage.
Yep, Yellow War Gray.
Yeah.
I knew that wasn't for me. And into BT5, Lord Nightmon wasn't for me as well. Dan and I tried some shenanigans with Lord Nightmon and Mastamon. I liked that. That was just because I wanted to be different, and I liked being different. But Lord Nightmon wasn't for me either.
Well, I played that for sure.
Yeah, Dan did. I found my home very quickly in Megazoo. I saw Huang Zero post some video about like Sierra missed Megazoo, and I was like, Megazoo, what the hell is that? I was like, that sounds fun. That sounds interesting. I watched the video. I was like, Puppetmon? Magna Angemon or Zudomon, whatever you were playing in it back then. I was like, that sounds interesting. I think I'll play that. Immediately loved it. Loved every second of it. I loved that it was like this big, boss monster type deck where I just drop this stuff, and if you can't deal with it, then good for me.
Sometimes it was GG, especially early Digimon.
Exactly. Pretty much early GG. So that's where I found my home. I found my home in Megazoo, and that's how essentially I found my way into being a control player, because I knew I preferred to make my opponents dictate their play around me. I hated dictating my play around my opponent. That's why I hate aggro decks, because aggro forces control out of its comfort zone. And as a control player, I gotta be in control. I don't even mind playing some mid-range decks or some tempo decks that I've learned the term of tempo recently. So some tempo decks, or some other types of decks like Lilith Loop, which is combo, I guess. So I like those decks. Aggro's not my thing, and control is my thing. That's how I got to be me. Dan, what about you? What do you think you are as a player? You just a widely versed player at this point?
Yeah, my TCG started from day one of Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, not day one, I won't say, but like legit when the starter decks came out for like the very first ones, the Blue Eyes and Kaiba and Yugi starter decks. So like I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh early.
You never played that Joey Wheeler, Red Eyes Black Dragon?
Oh hell yeah!
You know which one I love the most?
Red Eyes,
the zombie one that came out. It was like Red Eyes, like darkness.
Red Eyes Zombie Dragon.
Yeah.
No, Red Eyes Zombie Dragon. Yeah. They did. Red Eyes Darkness Dragon was also a separate
Maybe that one was
starter deck.
Then. But those were
Red Eyes had a couple of starter decks. Yeah. So like I played. My biggest break prior to now was like when Synchros came out, and then just because like I got into high school, so freshman year I was still playing Yu-Gi-Oh. And then the main person I used to play with a lot, remember guys, socially, competitively OD, like I'm, crazy when it comes to that. I used to play with this kid from like, I met in 5th grade. He was the best Yu-Gi-Oh player that I knew. Played with him constantly. And I constantly lost. So like, and we had like a group of us, and so like I would beat everybody else, no problem. Him, it never mattered. When we played like Pokemon, I was smacking with Pokemon. So I was like, yo, this doesn't correlate. I don't understand why this is not happening. Comes to find out, I think he was a low-key cheater, but that's neither here nor there. So as we got older, I got better and we played a few times and then I smacked him up. Like I smacked him up with like an Elemental Hero deck or something like that. And I was like, my conquest of being this kid finally happened. And then I was like, damn, what else do I do? Time to retire. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how it was. Like I went to like a couple of tournaments. We had a different like card shop in this area, Strasbourg area. I forget what it's called, but it's like closed down. I went to there. I like won a couple of tournaments. Like, but again, I was like a younger, so like I don't really remember fully. So yeah, I was playing Yu-Gi forever, and like I played because of, like the Game Boy Advance games and stuff. I've tried like every type of deck, like aggro, control, because I love the stupid control ones, like where it was like all trap based or something like that. Right. I've done it all, like when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh, like trying different decks. And then after a while, I've learned that my favorites were like, especially when Cyber Dragons came out.
Cyber Dragons.
You were legit you were OTKing people turn 1. You know what I'm saying? Well, so 0, 1, and then 2. So turn 2, right? Like you were able to OTK people with Cyber Dragons so fast, it wasn't even funny. They banned cards because of it. And then I love playing swarm decks in Yu-Gi-Oh as well. Like Black Wings is one of my favorite decks, which was a heavy swarm synchro based deck. I just played a lot of different decks. You know what I'm saying? I enjoyed different styles because if you're stuck in one style, including Digimon, if you're stuck in one style, then you don't get to learn other styles and you don't understand how they work fully. So when you learn and play them, then you get a better understanding of how the deck should run or what you expect, or just things like that. So moving on from Yu-Gi-Oh, started playing Digimon, retired from Yu-Gi-Oh. I don't play IRL at all. I kind of refuse to play IRL. It's just I refuse to spend money on cards anymore. Yeah. Especially when Master Duel is free, so I'll get my Yu-Gi-Oh fix by playing that now. Moving forward, so Digimon, my very first deck was
Gaia Red.
Hell yeah, OTK War Greymon. I pulled from Target. I pulled like the Steeper Rare Metal Greymons, and I purposely made the deck where it was just like I got the ties. So like I took that starter deck and I made it my own like War Greymon OTK before like War Greymon OTK was a thing. Because at that time it wasn't. I didn't have any money I had money, but I didn't have money for Omnimons when Omnimons were like $1.50. So like that was my first deck. So I was just like my first tournament I actually went to Gamer's Edge and I won with it. It was just I didn't know much, like, but I was straight OTKing people. That's what mattered, you know what I'm saying? So like I've always loved aggro decks. So like Like currently, right? War Greymon. I love playing the War Greymon deck. Sometimes it doesn't love me as much because current War Greymon bricks weirdly at times, and you know, ratios, things like that. I played, honestly, in Digimon. I know I tried Sekon. I lied. I tried Sekon early with the red yellow version. I don't know if you remember seeing that. I don't know if that was before you or not. What was that?
What were the rookies?
The red yellow version.
What were the rookies?
It was just red egg. You just played red egg usually.
I probably played it. Yeah, just Gaia Force.
It was like a red egg. It was red. It was a red egg just to play Gaia Force.
Yeah,
literally.
because I think that was the only card you played.
And then it was like yellow stuff, and then
you probably
like
played
I think a
Tamer so that you could play blue options, because it was probably 3 colors at the time.
No, it was no blue in that version.
Damn. I don't know.
So like I was trying like different things. Yeah. So yeah, so I just I was more like bored of it. I was like, all right, I don't really feel like doing this. Like this doesn't work for me, you know, type of thing. So like I never really continue playing the Sekon style. Can I pick it up and want to learn to actually play? Sure, no problem. It's not hard for me to do that. I just prefer not to play because to me it's boring as fuck to play.
Right. I mean, that's why
that just boils down to me.
That's why I don't like current iterations of Sekon. They're too. They've gotten to be too boring. I like Control.
Yeah, I do
Sekon, but I
like Control when I get to do things that's not just one card, just and that's it. Or sometimes, yeah, at times you just pass turn with Sekon too. Like especially what like standard Sekon is nowadays. You just at times it's just like you purposely wait until they do things, so you just pass turn, especially if you don't have like no memes to play or something. Yep. And so I don't find that fun because I hate just passing turn, not do anything.
That's why I like Yellow Hybrid better, because it's that combination of what you get in Sekon with like the constant recovery and being able to stay alive while actually facilitating a game plan. I mean, you remember my spice I had with the Kentoris back in the day, the Udamon promo and the actual Kentoris. I remember I used to catch some people off guard in EX2 with that. They were like, oh, delete. And I'm like, okay, cool, neg 12, delete. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, bitch.
Yeah, that's a fact. Yeah, 100%. And what else? Yeah, what other early decks were you playing then?
No, it was just Megazoo.
It was just that? Really? Was just that?
Because I remember it went from Shine. I didn't want to touch War Grey because I saw the way it played and I said, nope, not for me. And then I saw the Huang Zero deck profile and I said Megazoo's for me. So BT5, I played Megazoo. No,
you played Black Royal Knights.
We'll get there. BT5, I played Megazoo. BT6, I still played Sekon because I took the Dynus and I stuck it in that deck. I also did dabble in Black Royal Knights because that's when we got the Alphamon secret. So I played that, but I played a lot more competitive because Jesmon was running around. I preferred to play Sekon, but then they were playing ADP.
Yeah.
BT7 is where I found my identity. Yellow Hybrid. I played Yellow Hybrid for BT7, BT8, and I would have played it for BT9 if it wasn't hit. Or was it hit in BT9? I can't remember.
It got hit right before BT10, I think.
Okay, so then in that case, the only reason I didn't
it was BT. It was in BT9. It got hit. Yeah.
Okay, so I was excited for Alphamon because, you know, BT6 we got that Alphamon, and BT7 we got the first the beginning of the X anti support, which was the Dorugora line, which I played. I played the Oryu line, and I was like, okay, cool. I get to capstone it with Alphamon Oryukin. And then Alphamon treated the way it did after I tragically lost the deck. I feel like it's karma. I feel like that's what it is. It was like, you lost me, and now you will never win with me.
How dare you? How dare you?
So there's that. I was going to go back to playing Yellow Hybrid because I was super hyped for Venusmon in BT10.
Yeah.
And they hit it. And then I was like, fuck, how can I do this now? And then from there, that's how I became this wanderer. I was excited for Examon regardless. I was always going to play Examon. But I definitely would have been on the yellow hybrid train to this very day for sure. Wow, think about it. It's we've been through a lot of formats, but it's I personally haven't been through a lot of decks. That's wild. I've really only been through a couple decks as my.
I just remember like more decks. I mentioned it earlier. Like early times, I was definitely playing Old Forest, the very first version, the BT3 version. Yep. I was playing Old Forest. I was playing I played, like I mentioned earlier, the red Kreskarumon deck. Yep. That was such a cool different deck, especially at that time, because it wasn't like, it was, you can do different things, but it wasn't much. But because that card was a evo over red and black, that made you able to do little different things. So that was a really cool deck. I won locals a couple times with that. Right. I think it was. I played Lord Nightmon. I played the Massey Lord Nightmon version. I think I was one of the very first few people to play yellow based Massymon. Because I remember I built the deck, and I think I want to say it was Mario or somebody, maybe Home Zero, had like legit like did a deck profile like the week after or something like that. I was like, oh man, if only I was doing this shit at that time, type of thing. Yo. Because I was on that early, because I was like, bro, Massymon can evo over yellow. And I remember, I think I was just talking to Darian or something like that. Maybe it might have been you already at that point, where you were like, y'all were like, that sounds terrible. Why you want to build something? I'm like, bro, I got you. Watch this rogue ass deck I'm about to just drop on you. And you're gonna be like, this is something right here. Like, it was, you play like Bushis, Salamons, whole lot of things, like the Angelwomon, the one that lets you play rookies from your hand. Yeah. Lucamon was in that deck.
Goated one, yep.
And like, you just go top end Massymon, trash both security, you can swing with it. You're playing something else out, like a Bushi for rush and stuff. Like, it was such a really cool different deck, and I loved playing it. I played a lot of decks. I played the Nidhogg, green Nidhogg, the Nidhogg Hercules Complementariumon thing that was happening for a bit, because we got hit early instantly with that, because that was the same timeline. They wanted to hit that instantly. That deck, the green deck. I didn't touch much of yellow at that time, because yellow was a little boring to me. Yeah. There wasn't much going on for yellow. Blue, I didn't really touch blue besides Old Force, because I thought Old Force is the coolest thing ever. I think he's top 5 my favorite Digimon. And the Vmon line is just cool in general, right? So it was different. What else? I played, I just played everything.
Yeah,
like,
I can honestly say
if you named a deck,
Dan would definitely be that person. I played almost every deck.
I stopped playing like a lot of variety decks starting BT8. So I haven't touched a single Imperial deck, which is crazy to me, because I love the idea of the deck, and I love Imperial Dramon. Like anybody that knows me, I'm like, yo, I hate that deck with a passion. Like, not that I hate it, but like, I hate how helmet it was in my idea. Hey, and I'm just like, Michael Greymon is better. Buddy. F this shit. Oh, I know. Trust me, I know. And like, it's surprising to me that I didn't like really pick up the deck, because like, when it comes to Digimon, I love everything. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was just waiting for good Seraphimon support to play Seraphimon. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been waiting for that. BT14 forgot something good coming up, cooking, and stuff like that. It was just like surprise to me. Surprisingly, I haven't played the Wergarumon deck. I love that line. Like, everybody knows me again in person that we play with. I hate that deck. I despise it.
Same.
Despise everything about it. I don't even know why. It's my type. It's my style of play. It's aggro as AF, right?
Because you didn't start with it.
It's exactly. It's probably because I didn't. Probably because I was like, I didn't start with it, and I just didn't like. Yeah, still am, but like I love the Gabumon line. I love it. Like, in any game, I'm trying to get Agumon, Gabumon, you know, any of the OGs. You know what I'm saying? I'm always trying to do it. So it was surprised that I never really got into the deck. Another decks I didn't really get into, surprisingly, was Alphamon. Love Alphamon, the design of it. Love everything about it. Doraemon's cool. I just never touched the deck.
I think
all those decks I'm naming right now, I could name play for play how to play them, and I just never touched them.
I was gonna say, I think like the biggest thing is the fact that like you've seen people play them, and in a way that like fulfills you playing it. So you're just like, I won't play it because like in a way it's already been fulfilled for you. You may not have played it yourself, but you've played against it enough that you're just like, yeah, I know there's nothing for me to figure out. It's just for me to play it. And by the time that you're actually playing it's like,
it could be. And that's probably why I love playing purple decks, because purple decks is never a solved problem. Like,
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, as an engineer, I'm always, my whole thing is solving things, right? Like A squared plus B squared equals C squared, right? Like, and purple has no solution, I feel like. And that's like, even their like top tier decks, even like low loop, you can still find things that you could probably like tinker with. You know what I'm saying? And that was kind of a solved deck list, right? Like I guess I love the idea of that and the way purple works. But in tournament wise, I played Beelzemon just once. And I love Beelzemon too. Cup? I just never played it. No, I didn't even play Beelzemon.
Oh right, no, that's right. I played the Ogre Rush, right?
I was being the dumb. I was playing Merva Ogre Rush. That's what I did. Okay. And I was, y'all were like, how is he at 10 memory? Boy, I was doing what Lil Luke was doing now. Stacking Memboost and Jack raids. And I was just like, pop, go to 10, play Mervamon, gain a memory, go to 2, Jack raid, because now I could do more things for whatever reason, swing. And I was just doing like shenanigans and it just worked. I love playing that deck because, again, it's not a solved thing, and it was like such a cool idea for me to like make something on the fly, because nobody really throws Ogremons into anything. That's why I love those 2 cards, because like you don't see any purple decks running in, but like I've made them work for me. You know what I'm saying?
Right. There are definitely Dan staples when it comes to purple.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yo, quick thing. We just got a new Demi-Meramon for purple, and goddamn. This is a good card.
Just now?
Yeah. On deletion, by trashing 1 level 5 or higher Digimon card in your hand, draw 2.
That sounds pretty good.
Do you know how many times?
That sounds amazing.
I literally was just saying, I need a way to like, outside of, it doesn't help that it's on an egg, but like, it's not like it's the same thing as the older one. It's basically, what's it called? The purple Drawboo on deletion, trash 2, draw 1, or draw 2, trash 1, sorry. It's that on an egg, just restricted, but to trash a level 5 or higher, I've definitely had times where I want to trash, maybe it's Mervamon, maybe it's Chaos mode, like that. That's a good egg. That is a good egg.
That's pretty good. And then they dropped Candlemon just now too on deletion. If your opponent has 1 or less memory, draw 1. If your opponent has 1 more memory, gain a memory. That's
good.
Yeah, that's spicy. Purple. I like that a lot.
That. Yeah, agreed.
Oh my god.
Last thing we'll talk
Speaking
about.
Speaking of which, favorite colors.
No, screw favorite colors. We got to talk about what we start. We're at hour 30. We can't talk about favorite colors. What we will talk about is...
Damn, I didn't realize.
I know. It goes by. I was looking at it. I'm like, damn. I didn't know we'd fill up the time this easily just talking about like our past. But the last thing we got to talk about is, Dan, why did we start DigiPod, the digital podcast? What was the driving force for you behind even the idea of saying, let's podcast about the Digimon card game nonetheless?
Well, one, I think is both of us, because I went straight to Varni, because we know he did a little YouTube going on, so he knows the realm of like what we need to do, how to do things, whatever, blah blah blah. So I figured he probably knows how to do podcasts, so I hit him up. Obviously, yeah, right. We really didn't. I mean, we learned on the fly in that first, those first episodes, honestly. And so first, I think it's the love of the game, right?
For sure.
We both have that in common. We both have the passion of the Digimon card game. And then secondly, we felt that we both of us have strong opinions on the game and think we're pretty accurate on what we think is gonna happen, like tier list wise, what we think, what's good decks, just general, card game stuff. And we thought we can, bring it to a podcast and do well with it.
So I think definitely everything that you said. We started this podcast. Our first podcast dropped January 5th, 2022. I think, like I said, I had met Dan at the shop. Meeting Dan at the shop was one of the first times. At that pre-release. The kind of person I am, like I'm very like kept to myself kind of thing. I don't really like branch out just because it's hard. Like, there's a lot of personal stuff that goes into it. Trusting people and knowing who to talk to. Also just like talking to people in general. But one thing I'll say about the Edge, fucking phenomenal community. Those guys are absolutely great. Took me in open arms. I learned the game, and it was fantastic. And I made great friends in all of, big shout out to my boys, Dan, Mike, and Mark. Y'all don't ever hear about Mark. Mark's like the hidden number 4 behind the scenes. Mark's a guy I have a lot of respect for, as well as Dan and Mike. And getting into a brand new card game for me was a very scary experience because luckily I brought Greg along. But to be honest, I'm not gonna front. I had only known Greg for a couple months, maybe like 2-3 months from card fights.
That was the funniest thing because like we talked about that. We talked about how we met, and like I was like, oh, you and Greg must be like months afterwards. Where we talked about that. I was like, oh, you and Greg must be friends for like a couple years or some shit, right? He was like, nah, bro.
I just met this motherfucker.
Met that dude at like like couple months prior. I was like, oh.
But Greg was a real cool guy. Me and Greg hit it off immediately, and that's the same exact thing that happened with Dan, Mike, and Mark. They all took me in with open arms, and I think I speak for Dan when I say, like, outside of obviously I was trying to do the YouTube stuff. I think showing like that first store champ dub, for me, I was like, wow, like I'm actually half decent at the game. I'm not as bad. It solidified all the issues that I had.
The first one. Technically, the first one, Doug won.
The second/third one. It was weird how they were, because Doug did win the first
Shout
one.
out to Doug.
I remember that. That was a very bad experience. Dad and I both had bad experience our first store champ. The second one, though.
No. I was smacking all Lord Nightman players until him.
You remember. You went to one with Darian.
Oh, that one. Oh my God. I didn't play All Force. That was the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't play All Force.
You were playing the same shit I was playing, and we both had
the
bad
Lord
experience.
Knight Master deck.
We both had bad experience with those decks. So then the second one, your second one, you took that. You play second to Doug. My second one, I sold that deck that night. I sold it to Jay. I said, I'm tired. I don't want to see this deck. I don't want to hear about it. I'm done with it. I sold it to Jay and I was over with it. My second store champ, I took SecCon, and I ended up winning that store champ. And so for me, it solidified that, like, hey, like, I'm not a bad player. I'm actually half decent. And I think for Dan, like, that was the point that he was like, hey, look, this guy's actually half decent. And he has the YouTube channel. Things that I look for in people that I watch, I'm like, have they won? And they do content? Okay, cool. That means they're half decent players, and they're not just your average Joe Schmo who runs to locals. And hey, nothing against anybody who's an average Joe Schmo, runs to locals, makes content. But for me personally, when I'm looking at content, I'm a competitive player, just like Dan. When I want to see people talk, I want to see people talk who know the game. They play this game every day. They know it in and out. You're a casual player that does that, I'll even watch you. But, obviously casual players don't have that mindset. So it's really just the competitive players. So I think that was like the biggest thing behind like starting it. It was like, this guy's half decent. I know I'm good. We must have good opinions. Let's get this shit started.
Yeah.
Because January 5th, I had already qualified. Obviously, I had my invite for Nats, and Nats was a month away at that point. We had just gotten EX1, unfortunately. And we had a month. I had a month to prepare for Nats. And that was like the beginning of like my real friendship with Dan. It was just Dan at the time. because I was like, Dan, what the fuck am I going to play? That's how I ended up playing Digimon, because I was like, I don't want to play this. And then Mike fell into the fold, and with Mike came along Mark. So, you know, we started the podcast with the goal of, hey, here's a couple of guys who know their shit, and we want to give you our opinions, and we want to put it out there for you guys, because the other biggest problem is that YouTube never has been a platform for long discussion talks. Never has. It's still not. You can get away with it now, but it's not built for that. And so the idea behind the podcast was we could sit down for hours and talk about Digimon. We just sat down. It's an hour and 40 minutes, and I'm not going to wrap up until like an hour 45 because there's still just so much more to talk about. We just opinions. We felt good about the game. We still feel good about the game. The game is great. The game is in a decent spot, not a great spot, decent spot. And I say that because, you know, if you guys have seen the Jodabi and Mario Gaming World videos, you'll see they've talked about kind of like the state of the game, where it's at. And, you know, it's stuff that we talked about, back in May? You know, we talked about, I think it was titled Bandai Needs to Do Better. I'll link it in the description, wherever we post this, but you can always check that out. We basically we said all the things that they iterated on. IRL tournaments.
I think we talked about, we were one of the few early people because of talking about it, at least on like, you know, YouTube, podcast wise.
YouTube and the Facebook, because at the time, you know, everybody's been thinking that Digimon has been on fire for the longest time. And from the moment that like people were like, oh my goodness, like Digimon is dying, we were like, okay, here's our thoughts and opinions on that, right in line with what we started the podcast for. We talked about IRL tournaments. We talked about what Bandai needs to do. We one thing that they said that just, I think this reiterates how important it is. Bandai needs to get more TOs or hire more staff. Who they have is not enough. They need to make a better effort on that part. And obviously, they've been treating One Piece and Battle Spirits better than they've been treating Digimon in terms of both pricing support and IRL tournament support. They took away the store champ Nat invites, which I agree with. I said it back then, and I still do agree with it. But I wanted to see more movement from them in regards to how they do it. They passed down invites. That's nice. Invites should have been top 32 passed down. Because at this current point, the last time I checked the invite list, there's maybe 100 and
real low right now.
Some players. And sure, there'll be LCQs. I'm sure there'll be LCQs, but it really could have been double that. Like, why cap the amount of revenue that you can bring in? For what reason? I don't know. Well, we talked about all that. It's not something that like we want to like reiterate on. We don't want to beat a dead horse, you know, Dan. Remember, beat a dead pan. Whatever the fuck you said.
Hey man, drum.
Beat a dead drum. We don't want to beat a dead horse.
And honestly, I was at Nats last year, and Nats to me that was a success.
1,000 players, easy, no shot. How much money they made from that? A lot. So I don't know what the plan is, but we did a great podcast on that. Y'all should go give that a check out. Bandai needs to do better. There was probably a follow-up podcast like a couple of weeks later that we kind of like talk about the same thing. But lots of good stuff there. So if y'all want to hear our opinions on that, you can hear it there. TLDR for this is, we think it's in a great state in terms of the game. The game is doing great. The support for the game from Bandai,
not so great.
Title of the podcast, Bandai needs to do better. Straight up. That's what it is. They've been doing better on one part, and now they need to step it up on the other part. If they can do that, Digimon will be a top, it's still a top 5 game in terms of sales. Arguably top 10. Let's say it gets bumped down a couple spots just because of One Piece and Lorcana, whatever. Top 10 game, no shot. And it can continue to be a top 10 game. Bandai just needs to do better. That being said, this podcast is about to be over. Season 3, episode 1. Appreciate y'all for listening. Mike will be back for the next one, so don't worry, it ain't gonna be too long.
Yeah. I'm gonna take a quick maybe 30 seconds. Give anybody who wants to know Mike's little intro to Digimon. Here it is, since he's not here. He quit card games, period. Like he quit Magic. He sold all his Magic collection. He sold his Yu-Gi-Oh collection. And then I know he loved Digimon. I kept poking at him with it. And I was like, yo, look at Imperialmon. Look at R and Black War Greymon. Look at War Greymon R and tell me you don't want to get to this game. He's like, yo, this is fire. I was like, what do you need to get to this game? What's Imperialmon deck? I was like, here's Imperialmon deck. And that's how I got him sucked into this damn game. And this is how he's part of the podcast. For anybody who wants to know.
We started the podcast with Mike. We might have said this all the way when we started with him, but we brought Mike into the podcast because Third Opinion, great friend to us, and just a great camaraderie between the three of us. I think it brings a completely new dynamic to the podcast, and today's episode definitely felt different without him. But much love to Mike, much love to you all. You guys are great. Those of you who have listened through both seasons 1 and season 2 now, and who are with us for season 3 on this new journey. Those of you who has seen the creation of DigiGuard United, you were with us when it was just Dan and Mike.
Day one.
When it was just Dan and Varni.
Wow,
yeah, right?
Oh, you're Mike now?
Y'all who were with us when it was just Dan and Varni. Then when it was Dan, Varni, and Mike. And then when Dan, Varni, and Mike were like, yo, we want to do some tournaments for you guys. And then DGU came about. And now we've got the YouTube and we're trying to do some more content. We're running these tournaments. Like, it's been a journey. It's absolutely amazing. We love you guys. We appreciate all your support. Everybody who listens to these podcasts, you're a real G. Because goddamn, I never thought I straight up when we started this podcast, I was like, sure, I'll do it, but I don't know who the fuck's gonna listen to a podcast about the Digimon card game. And lo and behold, the podcast was our platform for everything that we've done so far. Worldwide, baby. Worldwide, right. We could truly say worldwide. So much love to you all. You guys are amazing. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for the support. If you're not part of the Discord, join that lovely Discord community. Talk with us on a daily basis. We're always in there. We're always talking. I've been tested for Ultimate Cups and all sorts of stuff. So we can always talk, always get stuff done. And that's it. That is it for today's episode of DigiPod, the digital podcast. Parting words. Looking forward to bigger, greater things. Season 3, baby. So we talk to you guys next time. Peace out.
Next one.